Folks, all sports, we all talk about all the big cities and all the big teams, and then we always follow down to all the small market teams and what they only have as far as football, baseball, basketball, hockey. And now with the way the world is going down as far as the economy wise, sports wise, tickets, the draw, the potential for cities to try to bring more in, should we start talking about not necessarily the big four? Should we start talking about the MLS to make it the big five, all five North American sports organizations? Let's talk about it. So the sports world, we really have to get into a big riff of all. Doesn't matter if it's ESPN, Fox Sports, all the sports organizations, or even the big posts that you hear from The Athletic, Barstool, everywhere you go. Should we start really bringing in? Should we sincerely start talking about Should we start talking about how much money is grabbing to Major League Soccer? Major League Soccer has been in this business in North America since '96, and it has evolved. It had its own rules in the beginning, and then it has changed, and it has simply adapted to the European way of how they do their ruling, and also how FIFA does their rules as well. There's many things and that go by of who should have a Major League Soccer team. There's now over 30. There's enough. And it's still growing. It's still growing to this day, and we don't know. San Diego just got a team. So I have a little bit of a list. I don't have it on me because we're just doing this on the phone, but I have a little bit of a tier to a point of, should we start talking about the big five? Should we start adding the MLS as far as talking about cities of, they have everything. Well, let's see here. There are, if I do my math correctly, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have marked down 11 cities in North America that have all five. We're talking the big five: the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, NHL, and Major League Soccer. And it's usually the big cities, and it's simply, I'll just name them off: LA, New York, Philadelphia, Miami, that we'll call Miami South Beach, Dallas, that's the Dallas Fort Worth, Arlington area, that's including Dallas, Minnesota, Denver, Chicago, the New England region. So I put Silicon Valley in here because San Francisco, Oakland, and you can even include San Jose. They've got whatever, and they've got everything. Toronto has everything, including Canadian football. They also have the MLS. Everybody knows that. And they also have the Raptors. And I also put Atlanta in this because the only thing they're missing is the NHL. They've had it twice. It bombed both times with bad management. And they are most likely going to get the Thrashers back. That's why I put them up at a very, very high tier of cities that have all five North American organizations. You could really make a case for it. It doesn't really make a difference of who makes the most money. LA, New York will make money in their sleep, especially the Dodgers organization, because for years it was the Yankees who would just pick up every big time free agent and mess with the Pirates organization and take everybody that they can't do anything with. LA has the biggest television deal as far as the Dodgers. You wonder why the Dodgers always have the biggest payroll, and they're penciled to put in and win 100 games this year. 100. If you bet the over on 100, that's a little tough at this second because they're struggling right now, and San Diego has first place. And San Diego is a small market. They just happen to get 2-3 players that are paying them all. So I go to another tier below that, and it's the cities that have 4 things. Houston is one of the biggest sports markets in the nation, and all they're missing is NHL, and they're probably getting that pretty soon. Seattle, they're going to get the Sonics back. They have everything else. The only thing they're missing is NBA and the Sonics, and it's only a matter of time. I have Vegas in here because Las Vegas is going to get everything eventually. They just got the Raiders. They just got the Vegas Golden Knights and a Stanley Cup. They're going to get the A's, and it's so far it is a train wreck. They're working to try to get soccer, and they're going to get an NBA eventually down the road as well, because Seattle and Vegas are going to be the teams that are going to get NBA expansion. So Vegas is right on the tail as well. And I also put Charlotte, that they have the Carolina Panthers, they have Charlotte FC for MLS, and they also have the Charlotte Hornets. They are working also in that vat to try to get Major League Baseball in Charlotte, in the Queen City. But they do have the NHL, but it's not in Charlotte, it's in Raleigh. So I'll just put Carolina and put them in that little tier. And then you have this, and then you have the cities that have like three things, but they're some of the best cities in the world that are good sports cities. Pittsburgh is one of them. They have the Steelers, they have the Penguins, they have the Pirates. They've got championships in all of them. They don't need the NBA. There's many people that say that they could support the NBA, but you can think of 5, 6, 7 other cities that could do better in the NBA than Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh doesn't have MLS, but they do have the USL, the Riverhounds, and that's the second tier league, and they have a 7,000 seat arena, state pitch right outside the city. But Pittsburgh is always going to be one of the best sports cities. And right next to it is Cincinnati and Cleveland and St. Louis, and then they all have like three things, and they're missing two of them. Like St. Louis is missing the NFL, and they're a great football town, but it's a baseball city, no question. They just got a Stanley Cup, and they just got Major League Soccer. They just don't have NBA, and I think NBA can work in St. Louis. Phoenix, Arizona, they just lost the NHL, and they don't have MLS. And Arizona's a little bit hit and miss with management in all states is right on. But Cincinnati, all they're missing is the NBA and NHL. They need a new building. Cleveland, they don't have NHL or MLS. Nashville, all they're missing is baseball, and they're most likely going to get baseball. All they got to do is build a ballpark. They've got a brand, they've got a brand, they've got a name, they've got a nickname, they've got history, they've got the heritage. Nashville Stars, go look it up. And all they need is a ballpark. All I say is, when the Titans move into the new Nissan Stadium, I would renovate the old one, make it into a ballpark until you actually build a new one. That's the only thing they're missing. They're missing NBA, but God, I had a big rift about that about a month ago. Utah is getting everything except NFL, but they're getting the Olympics in 2034. They just got the Coyotes. They're now the Utah Mammoth. That city just put nearly $1 billion into Salt Lake for expansion, as far as renovating the Delta Center, getting land to possibly build a brand new ballpark for Major League Baseball. They're also very high on expansion. And then there's other ones like Tampa Bay, who doesn't have the NBA. They don't have MLS. They had MLS, but and then there's Kansas City that doesn't have the NBA or NHL. They have a 12-some-year-old building that they hardly ever use. And as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, that he can probably put a good word in. There's so many cities also that only have one or two teams. I'm not going to go into those because it's simple. It's like the simple ones like Green Bay, Buffalo, Jacksonville, Sacramento, Austin, Texas. They have MLS. San Antonio. And then you got some that do have two or something. Anaheim, Baltimore, Indianapolis, San Diego San Diego had NFL, and then a greedy owner moved him to LA, and nobody in LA cares about the Chargers. So, but maybe Jim Harbaugh will change that. But folks, we have enough to worry about. But should sports organizations, podcasters, the people at Barstool Sports, The Athletic, and anybody else who does sports journalism, should we start talking about cities, and should we start talking about sports? Should we start talking about the Big Five? For decades, we were always talking about the Big Four. MLS has grown so much. I think we should start talking about the Big Five. LA, New York, all those cities that I talked about, LA, New York, Philly, Miami, Dallas, Minnesota, Denver, and I'll name them all again: Chicago, New England, Silicon Valley, Toronto, Atlanta. They all have MLS, and they're thriving, and they're fine. So you want what you want. If a city wants to get something, put a good word into your people at your local whatever, your city hall, and if you think you have the fan base to support it, put a word in. We could talk about different episodes of expansion and whatnot over and over and over on YouTube, and everybody else will put in their 2 cents in. I put mine in, so should we start talking about the Big 5, let alone for eons and eons, we were talking about the Big 4. Something to think about. Bars closed.